Hello and welcome to the Midday. I'm Melanie Lawson. Well, tomorrow marks 20 years since the 9/11 attacks, and all week long, ABC News has been commemorating that tragic day, and special coverage will continue tomorrow on Good Morning America. Well, leading that coverage is ABC's chief anchor, David Muir, who joins us from New York right now. And David, we appreciate your time so much. This was such a massive event affecting so many people, not just in New York and D.C., but around the world, quite literally. Yet you are bringing us individual stories, kind of a reminder that this is really about people and so many individuals.
Oh, you're absolutely right, Melanie, and it's great to be back with you. And this documentary that unfolds starting, at 9 Eastern tonight, I know, right there in Houston as well. And you're right, this is about all of these lives, forever linked by what happened that day. They tell their stories tonight and how they intersect these strangers who never knew one another, all now bonded by that day. And I have to tell you, Melanie, because I think a lot of Americans, obviously they remember where they were when they first learned of this, when they turned on the TV and joined millions of others in watching what was unfolding that day. And I know it's hard. It's hard for Americans to remember that day. But every one of these people who came forward, boy, they were all united in their hope that Americans will take a moment to watch their stories, to understand the pain of what they went through, and then they each sort of issue this hope, this wish for this country 20 years later, and that's what really moved me. I'll give you one example. Florence Jones, she was in the South Tower. Of the last 25 people out, she was number 18, and she worked on, her office was 77 and 78. She was on the 78th floor. The North Tower had been hit. She told everybody, we have to get out. She went back down to 77, and that's when the plane hit the second tower, one floor above her. All of her colleagues and her loved ones were gone, and she'd just been talking to them. And one of them, her name was Jill, a young mom, and you'll see tonight that 20 years later, Florence, out of the blue, gets a phone call from a young man named Jake, and it was Jill's son. And he said, what can you tell me about my mother? I mean, I get sort of chills even retelling the story. And you'll hear from Florence and from Jake tonight about the gift they gave each other in that phone call 20 years later.
Well, David, we will be watching tonight. We know there are so many important stories, and especially there in New York City where you are based. Thank you so much. It's always great to talk to you.
Thanks, Melanie.
And now we want to go to weather and find out a little bit more about this gorgeous weekend that's just ahead. And Alita, it's almost a hard toss because that's such a serious story, but we want to remind people that they're going to get a reward after this hot summer.
That is correct. The reward definitely paying in benefits. We had 2 cool fronts this week, that Labor Day front bringing in those showers and thunderstorms, but it's that heat relief with the humidity relief that we have been loving. We've got another round of drier air in place for this afternoon. But as you know, with that drier air, temperature readings heat up fairly quickly. We're looking at temperature readings in the low to mid 90s for this afternoon. And with that drier air in place, we'll see those temperatures dropping off in the 50s and 60s. Really one of the coolest mornings we've seen all season if these temperatures pan out early Saturday morning. You'll notice the clouds beginning to return as we get into the afternoon on Saturday. And by the evening hours, I'm not ruling out maybe a stray rain shower or 2 developing along the coastline. But most of those showers should stay offshore. Come Sunday, those showers and storms will be pushing a little bit further to the north. So by the afternoon hours in the evening, looking for some heavier downpours to move into southeast Texas, especially along the coastline and also east of I-45. Now, there is going to be an area of disturbed weather that will also be monitoring for tropical development. But Sunday alone, we could be dealing with some street flooding across the area along the I-10 corridor, some areas to the north around Liberty County, some northern parts here of I-10, portions of Harris County, and all along the coastline from Texas into Louisiana need to be on notice for some street flooding with some of those heavier downpours rolling in. I mentioned the disturbance. By the weekend, it is expected to move somewhere into the southern Gulf of Mexico. This will have the best opportunity of formation once it gets into the Gulf here. Right now, that chance at 40% during the next 5 days. But regardless of development, we are going to have to put you on notice for some heavy rain potential. potential, especially going to Monday and Tuesday when we see those rain chances building to about 80%. And really the flash flood threat is all going to depend on the track and the speed of that tropical low. So it's something where you're going to have to make sure you tune in each and every day so we can really fine tune that forecast. I can tell you that as of the latest models, some of those rainfall totals can be anywhere between 5 to 8 inches in one spot. But because we don't know the track yet or the speed of that low, it's really hard to pinpoint exactly where those heaviest rainfall pockets are going to be. But just know next week, have that rain gear handy. You're going to need to replace those sunglasses with your umbrella and maybe even some rain boots. By the end of the week, it does look like that rain starts to wane, and we're looking at those 40% chance of downpours. The caveat is those temperatures, Melanie, are going to be much lower. We're headed back down into the 80s with all those rain-cooled storms.
All right. Thank you so much, Alita. And thank you for joining us for the midday. Have a great weekend. I'm Melanie Lawson. I almost forgot my name there. We'll see you next week.